welcome to episode 52 of the Select Characters podcast. My name is Christopher Anderson and I will be your host today. I'm joined today by my two good friends, Samuel Yates and Ryan Dildine. And Sam, it's your birthday today, isn't it?
It's my birthday today. I'm very excited. Yeah, I'm going to take these 32 years of wisdom and experience on this planet and I'm going to craft them into a rocket engine and send this podcast off the rails. So everybody be ready.
So, no pressure.
But I'm doing it for a reason, because afterwards we're going to play Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, which is one of my favorite video games. So I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be good. So, I'll just say this. I'm a bit hungover. I know that Ryan is a bit hungover, so bear with us. But we are going to try our hardest to give you the regular content you so enjoy. So let's talk about what we have been playing this week.
Great.
So it's been a wonderful week for video games as always, and I'm going to give this one to Sam because he's been looking forward to this specific moment for weeks now, because you've been playing Dark Souls 3 for your birthday.
That's right.
So tell us all about that.
Dark Souls 3 is a fantastic game. I wanted to talk to Enrique about it, but he is unfortunately not here this week. That's okay. Dark Souls 3 is great, man. It's just as good as the other ones, if not better. It is the culmination of that entire series. I feel pretty confident saying that.
Yeah, I've heard that description being slung around an awful lot on the internet as well. Like, it's a best of all the Souls games and stuff.
Yeah, I had all my little pivotal Dark Souls moments. Like, I play a pyromancer, and when you throw a fireball, you take a little step forward. So I had the moment where you step forward off a ledge into the thing you were throwing fireballs at. And I had the moment where somebody puts a sign up somewhere weird where you think you can't get to it, and you try for 20 minutes to exploit the geometry to get up there to read the thing. And I had the moment where somebody made a sign about a butt, but I had that like 3 times. So Dark Souls 3 so far, the most moments with signs about butts. So 2 thumbs up all the way up. I like it a lot.
That's how you know how multiplayer functionality has been built incorrectly. People are leaving behind that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's the Dark Soulsiest of the Dark Souls games. 100%.
Checks every box.
It checks every box.
Yeah, I love it, man. I don't know really too much to say about it without getting into the spoilery kind of territory stuff. So I guess I'd just say it's great and leave it at that.
I did see a walking, what was it, cell?
Yeah, it was one of those like bird cages.
With skeletons in it?
Yeah, but it was filled with bodies, and then it started walking, so I just chopped it down. That was creepy. There's a lot of creepy stuff in that game.
You got to admire how creative the design of the world and the enemies is in those games, because they come up with some horrific shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of it is very creepy. That's true. And even though you think, okay, I've seen zombies before, I know what ghoulish looking people look like. For some reason, you make their arms and legs longer, and all of a sudden it becomes 10 times as creepy.
Yeah, because the proportions are sort of off.
Yeah, in general, I like it a lot. One of the most interesting things about that game is I played the other ones before, or not before, but way after they came out. So there weren't many summon signs on the ground, and this one I got to the first boss, and it was just a confetti of summon signs in front of the boss. I ended up summoning some people, and they just worked that thing over, and I kind of stood there, and I was like, well, I don't want to do that, but at the same time, I'm normally geared towards finding whatever the most optimized, efficient way to play a video game is. And so I have a conflict of interest going on, right? Because Dark Souls is supposed to be hard. You're supposed to do anything you can to get an edge on it and kind of come out on top. But there are also, I mean, in a world where there's so many people playing it and you can just summon up people is too easy. So that rides the whole line. I guess I need some self-imposed restrictions or something like that.
Screw that. You're playing that for the power fantasy, right?
I guess, yeah. I don't know.
Might as well share the experience.
I'm gonna have to.
Can't hurt, and it's in the game for a reason. Why not use it? I mean, you literally paid for that feature.
That's how I always feel. That's always my line of thought. If it's in the game, I'm going to use it. But if it takes all the difficulty away, that's going to be a bummer. So we'll see. I'm going to find some way to work around that. But in general, it feels great. I like it a lot.
All right,
sweet.
Anything else?
Let's see. I feel like I played something else earlier this week, but I can't remember.
It's all been eclipsed by Dark Souls.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. So no idea. That's all I got.
All right then. Cool. And we'll shuffle on over to Ryan Dildine. What have you been playing this week?
This week I played a lot of Rocket League Hoops, which just came out on the 26th, I think.
Oh shit, it's out. Nice.
Yeah,
play that.
It's interesting. I gave a little scoop like in the news video I did a few days ago, and I like it. I think I don't like it as much as I thought I would, or either that or it's going to grow on me in the future. One of the two. It's got to be one. So.
Right.
But so
what don't you like about it?
Well, first of all, it's 2-on-2, which I like playing. I just like the 3-on-3 format better. I just prefer it. And the court is pretty small. So you're getting something, I don't know, it's maybe 2/3 as big as the soccer field. So that's something to get used to. And then it's also very hard, at least because I'm bad at Rocket League. It's hard to score because pretty much every goal has to be an aerial unless you get like a lucky bounce off the wall or something. Or and saving goals is super hard too because you obviously can't save a goal by going forward. You have to go up. So again, it's like aerials and like perfectly timed vertical jumps that are the only ways to save.
It sounds like an entire mode full of mechanics that I'm terrible at.
Yeah, it's super hard, at least for me. And I don't know. I kind of wish they'd make the field bigger. I'm still undecided on that, but I definitely wish it was 3-on-3 at least. I do like the sound effects they put in. They added in like the floor squeaks from Sneakers.
Oh,
but
man, that's good.
Oh, right.
But it's like whenever you're you're like in the air and you hit the ground or something, it'll make a floor squeak and that kind of thing. And they but they changed the instant replay. So it'll like show your goal and that kind of thing. And then after your goal, it does this cool like zoom effect and it'll zoom in like to your car to show who scored the goal.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. Unfortunately, we're moving in a couple months, so we canceled our internet service, and we're using like a public one right now. So every game I get into is incredibly laggy, and so yeah, not the most responsive thing. So I hope when we move out and we get proper internet again, it'll be a little bit smoother to play. But other than that, that's really what I played this week. It's busy because like I said, we're moving, so we're building up to that, and not a whole lot of time to play games these days.
That is the worst game. The moving game is the least fun game there is.
Yeah. Oh, it sucks. I've done it like once a year for the past like 4 years, and it's the worst.
No, thank you, sir.
The game of life is the worst game there is.
Yep.
But yeah, man, cool. Rocket League is pretty cool, and I love the continued commitment to include every ball game ever into that game.
Yeah, and I feel like I talk about it a lot, but it's like they add new features so often that it always gives something fresh, So
yeah, definitely.
I feel like Bocce.
Yeah, they're doing really well.
Bocce would be.
Sorry?
I feel like Bocce would be an excellent Rocket League game.
Bocce. I don't know what that is. I think
Bocce is like a yard game. There's a white ball that's small and 4 bigger balls. They're all heavy, and you try and bowl the big ones close to the small one.
Oh, we call it jeu de boule.
Whoa,
it's French.
Whoa, all right, that's fancier.
It's called jeu de boule, which literally means games with balls.
Okay, I like, but it sounds fancier if you don't translate it.
Yeah, what is it in ye old America?
We call it bocce, but I think that's Italian.
Bocce.
Ball.
Yeah, we call it the game with balls. Anyway, yeah.
All right then. Nothing else then, Ryan? That was it?
Man, that was it. It was pretty sparse for me. I planned to play Insurgency, which is a game I picked up. It's been in my backlog for a long time, and if I look at it now, I have 6 minutes total played. So I wanted to play that this week, but I think that's going to wait for next week. But I've heard it's like it's like Counter-Strike, but not with the fluff removed, but like just made more realistic. I guess there's more weight to everything you do. People die faster. It's got to be a lot more coordinated. So I'm going to check that out this week, and hopefully I really like it.
All right, cool. We'll hear about that next week then, hopefully.
Yeah.
As for me, I buckled under no pressure at all and downloaded Clash Royale to my iPhone.
Hey, cool.
Try that out. Yeah, because I've been hearing a lot of good stuff about it, mainly from Brad Shoemaker from the Giant Bombcast. So I was interested in finding out what that is. And what it is essentially is tower offense. There's a map. Each side has 3 towers, and there are little choke points in the middle and a moat in the middle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the aim is to destroy the main tower in the middle of the opposing field by dropping down units and let them attack the other side of the map, which is all automatic. Essentially, it just plop down units and hope to God that they cross that crossing without dying and then take down the towers. It's probably tactical, but I just did random stuff and I won quite often. So I don't know. Plus the free to play mechanics they are a bit rigorous. It isn't before you encounter a sort of wall that you can punch through by paying money or by exercising patience, essentially. And I deleted it after about 3 or 4 days of playing.
That's funny.
I guess it's...
Oh, sorry. It's just funny because I looked up Clash Royale. That's the name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I looked up screenshots of it right now, and I saw a coworker playing this on his phone yesterday.
Busted. Get it. I'll tell you a tiny little secret. I've been playing that game for months now. just a little between you and me kind of thing. I've been playing that game for a long time. It's actually not bad. It's just like you get to a point when you're climbing the ladder where you basically win by taking 1 tower, and there's also a lot of draws. Yeah. So you either barely win or you draw all the time, and it becomes very unsatisfying. And so, yeah, that part sucks right now. That's kind of where I'm at. But it's fun.
But still, you keep playing it, so you can say that game has its hooks in you right and proper.
You gotta do something. I'm definitely not spending money on that game. I hate their free-to-play thing. I hate anything where you spend money and you get something that you can use all of it, that you need to buy more of that thing again. That's the worst.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You want to do a one-time unlock? Cool. Like, no problem. You want me to buy something I can keep forever? That's great too, but no, I don't want to buy currency. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that either. And it's all really expensive as well, because I have bought microtransactions in the past if I think that the cost is in line with the benefit. But Clash Royale, but it is sort of a nice thing to do when you're just waiting on the bus, for instance, or you're just having just an empty moment where you're not really doing anything, and the matches they are what, 3 minutes long?
Yeah, 3
max?
minutes. I think it's
cool.
2 and then an overtime if you're tied at that point.
Yeah, which I quite like. It's over really quickly, but there's just not enough game there to keep me playing it. Essentially,
just got it.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, you just got it.
Good luck. Enjoy. I really liked the ramp. I thought it was a lot of fun until I got to that point where I just kind of stagnated. And now I don't check it near as often as I used to. It's just like the gap got too big. It's weird. It's like a second free-to-play wall. But even then, if you pay, you just race up the ladder, and then you're higher on the ladder. It doesn't seem to change that much. If that makes sense.
No, definitely
Like,
not.
eventually all the free-to-play people are going to catch up to the people who paid. It might be a real long time, but it's not. You're not paying to win. You're paying to speed up time, I guess, essentially. But at that point, like, you look at it all in one big sphere, and you're just like, I don't want to spend money on this thing. It seems like a waste.
Yeah, especially with little mobile games, it just feels like a waste to buy extra stuff.
But I do like the game itself, and I would like to see a format where maybe there's a draft, like an arena mode kind of thing in Hearthstone. I think that would be fun. There's not a huge card pool, but it would still be a fun draft. Or something where maybe like a tournament where everybody's cards are locked at the same level. Either one of those things, I think that game would be a hoot, because I do like the core gameplay of it. The units counter each other nicely, and there's a decent amount of strategy there with positioning and stuff. But
no idea.
Yeah, if you stick with it, you'll kind of see it, and it's pretty cool. Like, you start to see openings, and then eventually you just keep playing, and then nobody leaves an opening anymore, and then it becomes that draw/one tower super bummer thing I was talking about earlier.
Well, then I have some bad news. I already gave up, and it's no longer installed onto my phone.
Download it again. But don't. But definitely
Free
don't.
to play.
No, definitely.
It is free to play.
Yeah. Just because you
Yeah, I
can
didn't
doesn't mean you
lose
should.
anything except time. Little itty bitty chunks of time.
Time and effort, which is essentially worth money.
I wouldn't really call what I was doing in that game effort because like I said, I did not see any sense in it. So I just plopped down random stuff, hoping that something will stick. So, and I think I mainly played against people who were worse at that game than I was. So that's why I won often.
I mean, that's the
not
very bottom
not
of
all
the
the time,
ladder.
but quite often.
So that's what you would expect. I'm just saying that it's not that stuff is not there. It's just that if you're looking for it, you have to keep going with it. And even then, it's not like a giant firecracker and confetti kind of payoff where it's like, this is great now. It just becomes okay.
Yeah, I don't have no time for okay games. Not at the now. Funny you should mention Hearthstone, actually, because they released a new expansion to that game, which is something Old Gods. Throws in a couple of Old God-themed, Eldritch Horror-themed kind of things into that card game. And this is the first time in months that I sat down and played Hearthstone for, well, I think about 5 or 6 hours over the week. The new cards are awesome. They are really, really cool.
I haven't played. God, it's been I think it's been over a year since I've played Hearthstone. I never got super into it. I mean, I had it on my laptop and I would like play it in between classes and stuff when I was in school, but never really dove into it. I don't know why. Because it seems like it's something that I would have gotten super into like 5 years ago. But yeah, I don't know.
I got hooked into that game when it was first released. I think I got admitted to the last few weeks of the beta, I believe, and I've been playing ever since. Although I haven't really played as much in the last 6 months or so because I don't know, Heroes of the Storm, another Blizzard game, caught my eye, and I've been playing that ever since, really. But I was interested to see what the new decks could do, and especially the hero card or the legendary card that everybody gets is Cthulhu. He's really awesome because he works in a mechanic that synergizes well with a lot of other cards from that new deck. And all those cards, they buff the Cthulhu card no matter where he is. So, for instance, he's somewhere in the deck and you play a unit that gives Cthulhu 2/2. You throw that down and it gives that card 2/2 Cthulhu. So when you draw it, it's a lot stronger than it would be if you left it unbuffed. And that can lead to some very interesting matches that usually turn out to be wholly dependent on RNG, because one of the things that card does, the Cthulhu card does, is spread its attack power randomly across all enemy units, so the hero and the enemy minions. So you can turn a match around pretty quickly. But it's Hearthstone is not a game based around a lot of skill because of the amount of RNG that's involved in it. It's just craziness, essentially, with some light tactical stuff and synergizing within the game's mechanics. But it's not very tactical. And a lot of pro players, they obviously dislike that because you don't want the game that you play as a job to be as dependent on randomly generated numbers as it is. But I don't mind that because I'm not super casual. I do play ranked matches and I do get quite high, like around rank 10 out of, 20 or 25, I believe. That's my highest. So I do sort of know how to play that game. I am proficient enough at it. But I'm not invested enough to be annoyed by all the random stuff. So yeah, that's been good. I'll be playing that for quite some time to come, I think. Because it's fun still, and I'm ranking pretty well right now. So yeah.
Does the whole game revolve around that one card right now? Basically,
no. A lot of people are running
Exodia?
that card. Sorry,
It's not Exodia.
I don't think
God,
so.
dude, what? This is not a Yu-Gi-Oh podcast, my friend. You stepped into the wrong neighborhood.
Well, Hearthstone does have trap cards, so I guess in that respect it is sort of similar. God, I haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh in so long, dude.
Good.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. That is dangerous. It was dangerously addictive when I was in middle school, so I'm not going to do it anymore. Anyway, that was about all I played. So, anybody have something they want to talk about before we jump into the news?
I remembered what the other game was, but if Ryan wants to go first, he can go.
Oh, I was just going to say Overwatch. Aren't they having an open beta in a few days? On the 5th?
Yes, I think. I think from the 3rd. I think you can get in on the 3rd if you pre-ordered the game, which I have, and the rest can. The rest of the peasants, they can join on the 5th and play for about 3 days in an open beta.
Awesome. So we're going to have a great... Next week, our What Have You Been Playing is going to be a great section.
Yeah, everybody here should play Overwatch, so we can...
This should be mandatory.
Compare. Yes.
Okay. All
I'm looking forward to that game, man.
I don't think it'll be
so fun.
It won't be that hard to enforce a mandatory Overwatch.
Cinco de Mayo, let's do it.
Yeah, I only heard good things about that game, so I'm really, really looking forward to finally playing it, because I wasn't in the alpha and I wasn't in the closed beta either. So
I know pretty much. I mean, I know what Overwatch is, but I haven't really been following it other than the whole Tracer thing. So I'm excited to see exactly what it is, like what's going on in that whole side of town.
Team Fortress 2 with a heavier focus on skill use mixed with MOBA heroes with all predefined roles and stuff. That is at least what I gather from it. But we will know for sure next week.
Groovy.
Yeah. All right. So let's jump into the news.
So an article that I read very recently was about the how much money gaming is bringing in each year from the Global Games Market Report. Apparently, $99.6 billion is going to be brought in, or is projected to be brought in 2016, which is a ton of money when you consider how it compares to other medium, which like movies brings in 88.3 billion total, music 15.1 billion, and then television is up there with $111.64 billion dollars, which I think those are from last year. Those were numbers from 2015, and then the games is 99.6 is projected for 2016. So that's pretty significant that games has especially surpassed music and movies by so much, and that it's apparently closing in on television, which is kind of crazy. And then when you look at what is really bringing in money for games, the biggest boost comes from mobile games, which what was it? They bring in 27%, or will this year bring up to 27% of all that money coming in for the gaming industry. What I kind of saw that was cool, where was it? It was 47% of the revenue for mobile games. So 47% of that 27% is from Southeast Asia and Asian Pacific countries. So I guess they're playing a bunch of mobile games over there.
No surprise there.
Yeah, so I want to know you guys' thoughts. Like, what do you guys think this means for gaming, that they're gaining so much ground in terms of money? Because gaming always seems to be this genre, this medium that gets kind of ignored. But I guess when does the money make it so that it can't be that way anymore?
Well, does it get ignored still, though? Well, I mean, I remember when Destiny got released, it got the largest ad campaign I've ever seen, like from buses to one of the screens on Times Square, I think, was themed after that game. And Naughty Dog has said that the coming campaign for Uncharted 4 is going to be the largest ad campaign for games in the UK ever. Everybody games now. Everybody has a phone where they even if they play like Bejeweled or something like that, or Clash of Clans or Clash Royale. Everybody games. Everybody has got a Nintendo device. Everybody's got a PC. The PlayStation 4 has sold around 18 million units. No, that's not right. It's sold more than that. Way, way more than that. What I'm trying to say is, what I'm trying to say is here, gaming has gone mainstream in the biggest way possible, and it is overtaking stuff that has been here for ages. It's quite easy to see why gaming is making more money now than films, and that's because the higher prices per video game, because you can go to a movie for tenner, but a full price game usually costs around 60.
Yeah, but I mean, I think most of it, you're looking at how much of it is the mobile market. That's the craziest part to me to think about. I still feel like mobile games just came around. It feels like they've done that in a short span of time. It feels like not 4 or 5 years ago, my cell phone was a piece of crap that couldn't even do anything. And now cell phones are just raking in the gaming market. It's pretty wild, kind of. It's cool, but at the same time, it's just weird. It makes the whole video game industry weird. It's not the way it used to be.
Yeah, and it kind of makes me wonder, like, should they be separate? Because, I don't know. Part of me wants them to be separate just so I know how much, like, mobile gaming in terms of, like, DSs and PlayStation, PSPs and that kind of thing. Or what PS Vita, or what's the newest one?
The Vita? Sure. I
Vita?
guess.
Yeah. We'll go with that.
Yeah. That chart had like 1% for handheld, and I feel like that 1% is all going to Nintendo.
Like the fact that the three of us had a hard time naming the actual device that probably says enough about its success in the current market.
Yeah, well, when I think of like mobile gaming, that's what I think of. I think of handheld stuff, not phones. And I kind of wish they were separate just so I could see how much in my mind, or not in my mind, how much the gaming industry was bringing in, I guess, separate from mobile games, which is math you can do on your own. But it kind of feels like to me it's skewing, like mobile is skewing that total profit too much.
I mean, you could say anecdotally that the portable and mobile, if you separate them out and call mobile cell phone and portable like your DS, like the portable market, I don't know how much of a future is there because I don't want to carry around two things.
Yeah.
The games are better, but I just don't want to carry two things. That's the problem.
Yeah. And I think I think phones do a good enough job of supplying us with games that handheld, even though the games might be a little bit better, they might be a little more powerful, it's not worth like you said, carrying around two things isn't worth the incremental upgrade from mobile games to handheld games.
Mm-hmm. But wow, dude, that's so much money. It's mind-blowing. It's a mind-blowing amount of cash, which I guess is why the advertising budgets are skyrocketing as well. Isn't that the key to a lot of mobile games, is that they have to advertise very heavily to keep the users coming in, to keep the money flowing?
Yeah, I've seen more commercials for mobile games and more ads on websites for mobile games than I think I've seen for regular games, which obviously they launch these huge advertising campaigns, but I feel like I see 10 Clash of Clans advertisements and TV commercials for every other, for whatever AAA titles coming out.
And a lot of them attract like really big name celebrities as well.
Yep. Arnold Schwarzenegger's in a couple. Even I know that, and I don't watch TV, so there you go. Even that has touched me. But those numbers, like those profits, only go to show you that basically everybody you know is playing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's cool. It's just that what they're playing is often not great. But if they like it, then I guess that's fine. But I mean, there was a time where people, in different demographics maybe might not play video games, but now there is a video game to satiate everybody. Almost like the fact that everybody watches a movie, and not enough people read books, but lots of people have read a book at some point in their life. That everybody is playing some kind of video game. And that's why it's a $90 billion industry, because people like them. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's never been a better time to be a gamer or a gaming enthusiast or whatever you want to call it than now. It's everywhere. It's actively permeating every layer of our culture, at least here in the West, and in the Far East, in Asia.
Even more so.
It's also doing, right? And gaming culture over there is even more of a thing, even more of an outward thing than it is over here, which I find very hard to sort of imagine.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird.
And I don't see the correlation happening where, as the industry becomes more profitable, that we are worse off as video gamers. I can't make that connection. Yeah. I feel like that's something that somebody would say, but I don't have an argument for the other side. I feel like the more money that industry makes, the more choice we have, the more stuff, the more competition, and competition is great for consumers. So
yeah, what was that sound you made, Ryan?
Well,
pray tell.
Something I wrote down as I was reading the article was, and it kind of ties into how we were talking about mobile games earlier. They make money differently than traditional games, but we're seeing the microtransactions kind of bleed over a lot into traditional video games, and I don't know if I like that. I hope we don't start seeing paywalls in our PC games or our Xbox 360 game, or our Xbox or PlayStation games.
Ooh, that's a good point.
So, it just kind of worries me. And that's another reason why I kind of think they should be separate, because while traditional games do have microtransactions, they're not as, God, what's the word? Overwhelming?
Aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah. They're not like they are in mobile games. So yeah,
dude.
That's why that's why I made that noise.
That's actually, when you mention it, it is weird. Even so, I'm 32 today. Happy birthday to me. My brother, who is 13, well, I guess that's a big span of years, but to him, microtransactions are much more common than they are to me. That's just the way that he is used to interfacing with things. There's nothing weird about it to him. He doesn't think about, is this a good or bad way to implement this? It's just normal.
That's the way it is.
And so you have to wonder if, as time goes on, it goes beyond the fact that, so he's going to get a console, and then if that console is filled with microtransactions, just like his cell phone that he got when he was little, then that's normal to him and nothing is different. And then all of a sudden, you're right, it spirals out of control. And then the fact that it's in a very profitable industry becomes bad because it's based on that shit that I hate, the stuff that I hate. And then that's not good. But that, I don't know if that's a curmudgeonly thing to say, like, all these kids coming up, but I mean, whatever you play is what you expect, and that is what you're used to, and that could...
Well, I don't think it's curmudgeon-y I don't think it's very curmudgeon-y because, I think it's justified to say that because the kids that are coming up now who, like you said, are used to that, I feel like that's what the industry is concerned about. They don't care about people like us who are we get, if there's ever a weird microtransaction thing that goes on, everybody gets their underwear in a wall.
Yeah.
But
to be fair, we're the ones with the money, but only now,
Yeah. In the future, they're probably like, okay, we just bide our time until we get this new generation of gamers who expect, totally expect microtransactions and paywalls and that kind of thing. And then it explodes, which I'll be old by then. I'll have a bunch of other problems to worry about.
Man, just that entire tirade has turned me from being very positive about gaming's future into very negative about gaming's future. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's important for us now to not let it creep in like it has been. So
we have to hold the line.
Well, on the other hand, the whole reason why big developers are putting microtransactions into their full price retail games is we are buying them. If you don't like the microtransactions, we should all stop fucking buying them, don't we?
Well,
that doesn't happen.
Yeah, theoretically. The other side of the coin is, though, that I'm like financially indifferent at this point. The only reason I don't buy them is on principle. Right? It's not because it's got nothing to do with the money. Not a problem, but I'm morally opposed to it. So that's funny. I could almost even see a timeline where it doesn't bother me, but it's just so weird to think about. But they're going to produce their product in a way that's where the money's at. So if the money is in microtransactions, that's what you're going to get more of. And that's exactly like you said, Chris. It's because we're buying them. That's why they're doing it. All right.
Yeah, and the aim of any company is to make as much profit this quarter as possible, right? And looking at the projections, they're going to make more money this year, like a ton more money this year than they made last year or the year before that. So whatever it is they're doing is working. Contrary to popular belief, they are doing really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a scary future. Truly, the situation you just described to me, the possible future, that truly would be the darkest timeline.
Yeah, it's worrying because it's totally possible. It's not very far-fetched,
No, it's not science fiction. That's absolutely true. But who knows? I mean, it would be weird to see it swing back the other way. Whatever takes over microtransactions is going to be something else. I don't think it's going to be
episodic games, maybe. Because, Hitman is doing it, and then Final Fantasy VII is going to be coming out in several installments as well. Even though that one's not really the best example, because they're all supposed to be full-length games.
Yeah.
But then the Hitman thing still stands, actually, because that was an odd choice as well. And you'd think that they wouldn't have done that if that did not make sense to them, financially speaking. So there has to be some upside to why they decided to cut up the entire thing in several episodes instead of just releasing the entire thing at once.
Yeah. It's not going to be a return to the traditional models, right? Like, that's not going to happen. We're pretty much past that.
Yeah, we're forever changing. We're forever evolving and moving forward. Whether that's a positive or negative thing is anybody's guess at this point. But there are some red flags coming up that make me so scared, and I don't want to be that because this is one of my favorite.
Yeah,
hobbies,
there's also
right?
lots of gold stars right next to those red flags. Like,
yeah, definitely. I wonder what the predictions for 2017 are going to be like once VR has had a year to settle in, because I'm really looking forward to see if that is going to make the mark on the industry that a lot of companies and publications want us to believe, and it looks like they are doing it the right way this time. Like, they're really pushing for it, and the biggest names are behind that thing. So I wonder how big that VR industry is going to be down the road.
it'd be interesting. It'd be very cool to see. All right.
Man, gaming has gone mainstream. This is no longer that little kiddie thing that we did on Saturday afternoons, you know?
I wonder if that's part of the counter argument. Like, this is my thing. This isn't everybody's thing. I'm the one who likes video games, not everybody. This is dumb. I don't want to do it anymore.
I, for one, am happy that this hobby is shared by so many people all around the world now. I mean, no matter where you go, there is somebody there who likes games and who probably likes the same games as you do. And I think that is really cool. It's no longer a specialized sort of niche industry. It's a full-blown thing that is, well, nearly as profitable as TV. That's ridiculous.
And very cool.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And I think people are coming to the realization that it's not something for like little boys to do in their free time, which it is for little boys to do in their free time, but it also includes everybody else who I think people are like keying into the fact that games are stimulating rather than just like children's entertainment. Like, no matter who you are, it's going to be stimulating because they're structured to be stimulating to your brain. They're made to be stimulating to pull you in and like get you playing. And we like that. Like, your brain likes it. And I think that fact, people are becoming a lot more accepting of them. And I mean, the money's coming in now, so it's looking good as long as the wrong people don't get their hands on the control of, I guess, where the industry's going in terms of microtransactions and all that.
Let's just pretend like everything is fine.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be.
And it's a brave new world.
Yeah.
I think.
One last thing. The fact that it is such a $99 billion industry means that there is money out there for the people who make the games you like, no matter how niche your interest is. The more money in the pool, the more is available to the people who are making all different types of things, which means we're spoiled for choice. Even in the darkest timeline, we'll still be able to find games that we like to play.
And yeah, and I think that's a good point, because that extra money going to those extra games is in those niche games, I think is going to help keep games overall grounded, because I mean, like, now you have these AAA titles are coming out, and if people don't like those, now they have an option to go play a small indie game that just some guy made, and it could be just as entertaining, you know? So that's a really positive anchor, I think, to keep things from getting too out of control and too controlled by giant, businesses, that kind of thing. It's like if indie films had a giant boost in revenue, and they had something to work off of. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Cross your fingers.
So a while back, Microsoft shut the doors of Lionhead Studios, the studio that was responsible for Black and White 1 and 2, for Fable 1 and 2 and 3, Populous as well. Well, no, that's just Peter Molyneux, actually. Populous was his, not Lionhead's. But anyway, they closed their doors, and that means we get to say goodbye to a developer that, to me at least, was very entertaining with most of their games. They fell off a bit in recent years, and that Fable game that they were working on, that asymmetrical thing, that is now officially cancelled, so that's not coming out anymore. So it's the end of Black and White, and it's the end of Fable, and I thought, let's just look back at this storied developer and maybe talk about our favorite moments, our favorite games, what we liked, what we did not like.
I heard that if you brought them a wheel of cheese, they were going to open the doors again.
Demon doors, they were fun, weren't they?
I never liked playing the Fable games, but I always thought they had a lot of potential. And Black and White the same way, right? Black and White was a game with just a ton of nifty ideas inside it that never really brought it all together.
I disagree there. I wasn't a very big fan of the first one, even though that whole game sort of exudes childlike wonder and mirth, essentially. But the second one is one of my favorite games ever because it's just a really cool city builder with an animal that you can teach stuff.
Yeah.
Which I liked. It was very zen most of the time, and I tried to be as passive as possible in those games because why play it like a normal RTS where you can win everything by expanding your borders through culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed playing that game, and I enjoyed Fable 1 as well. Fable 2 I've never played because I did not own an Xbox when that came out, and the third one I did play because that came out on PC as well. Never played the second one. Apparently that one is the best one, but I don't know. Never played it.
I can't remember. I get them all mixed up, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's all British patter anyway, isn't it?
But it's the same thing. The world was cool. The combat had some good ideas going on. The kind of real-time third-person switching between magic and guns and swords. I guess it was always a little too easy, and I don't know, everything seemed like you never really had to put effort into it. Like making money just kind of came to you. But a lot of creative ideas for sure.
I'm sort of sad that Fable Legends will never be coming out because that looked like a very interesting thing. I think it was 5 adventurers or 4 adventurers against 1 dungeon master, and the dungeon master had to make sure that the party of heroes did not make it to the end of the level. And I like asymmetrical multiplayer an awful lot.
No doubt, yeah.
So I'm sort of sad to now realize that game's not going to be realized. It seems like a wasted thing now because it was very far into development. It was supposed to release in the first or second quarter of this year, so it was quite close to the release date anyway. And it was going to be free to play as well, so everybody could jump on and just try it out. I think I lament the possible death of the IP more than the assured destruction of the studio.
Yeah, that's how I kind of feel about it too. Because I don't think I played any Lionhead games. I may have played Fable a long time ago, like when my
it's quite old.
Yeah, well, I remember
it's quite old at this point.
My best friend got it, and dude, I don't even think I played it. So I mean, it's something from my childhood that's going away, but I'm kind of indifferent to it because I never actually played any other games. So because what did the first Fable come out on? Xbox?
Xbox, yeah.
Yeah, the original Xbox.
Yeah,
yes.
so I didn't have an Xbox, and so I knew I wasn't going to get one, so I just didn't take any interest in Fable, but I knew all my friends really liked it. So it's like, oh, that's kind of a bummer, but in the end, it's like, whatever.
It's been out on PC for ages, though.
Yeah, but when I missed it the first go-around, I was like, whatever.
Yeah, don't worry about
it. I'll just let that one slide.
You're not missing much, but I've always thought of Lionhead as being very lockstep with Xbox. I've always thought of Fable as being that Xbox RPG, like almost what Zelda is to Nintendo.
Yeah, well, they were owned by Microsoft, so they were kind of first party.
So it is sort of weird that that's going away. I guess they don't really need a tentpole RPG anymore, but I always thought of them as being very much ingrained with each other. Yeah. So yeah,
I'm just sad that we'll never see Black and White 3.
See, that would be a game I'd play. Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
it was good. It was charming in the way that only a game made in the UK can be. It was quintessentially in English with a lot of in jokes to English culture and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Black and White 2 especially was so charming, what with the angel and the devil on your shoulder constantly giving you advice and making and taking pot shots at each other and stuff like that. And it was just so fun.
It's just that idea, right? Just the idea of you are a god, here's your hand. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Like, this is very, very cool. I'm a god, here's my hand. Great, let's see what goes on. You get a pet, like, all that stuff's awesome, but just at its very core, taking care of a village of people as like an omnipotent being and being able to do all the good and bad stuff that comes along with that is a very cool concept.
Yeah, and the game just allowed you to freely choose what to do with each situation as well. And it changed the look of your cities, and it changed the look of your animal as well. If you were evil, it would get sharper fangs and scruffy hair and stuff like that. Or if you were just a very benevolent benevolent god, then it would help people clean up the town and stuff like that. I love that. I really like that. It was a very creative approach to real-time strategy, and something that we haven't really seen since.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time just trying to get him to poop where the crops grow. That was surprisingly difficult, but that's definitely one of my fondest memories. That and picking up the little people and then just throwing them.
Yeah, that's what I always did.
It's very interactive.
And it had physics as well, so they would bounce off everything, you know?
Yeah, cool ideas. 100% cool ideas. Just not... I feel like you could say that you could extend that to Fable too. Just lots and lots of cool ideas that just never really came together for me personally. But Black and White was probably one of the first PC games I ever bought. Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's the same for me.
It seems like it's in there somewhere.
I wonder what's going to happen with the people who worked at Lionhead, because even though their output hasn't been as great in recent years, it's still a studio full of very talented people. And I hope that we can see the fruits of their work in some other form in the not too distant future, because I'd like to see that creativity and that sort of joyful approach to game design. Mm-hmm. I'd like to see that more.
They're all going to 22 cans.
Oh, God. The curiosity thing was interesting until you found out what the actual prize was, which wasn't really life-changing in any way, shape, or form, mostly because Molyneux decided to not really keep in contact with the guy who won. And there you got Goddess and Goddess Wars. It's just a clusterfuck.
That's true. I don't know. I don't know where they go, but they're going to get picked up by somebody somewhere. And I'm sure some of them will go off to make their own stuff, too, which would be interesting.
I really do hope so, because it's a sort of creative style that you don't really see often, and it would be a shame to let that go to waste due to one studio closing. And that was the 52nd episode of the Select Characters podcast. Before we go, a couple of things that we need to talk about. We've got Facebook, we've got Twitter, we've got Tumblr, we've got Google Plus. We basically have everything, and you can find links to all that in the description. And if you're listening to this on your iOS device or just via iTunes, consider giving us a couple of stars. Let us know if you like it or not, and let us know why you like it or why you don't like it. Anything else that we need to talk about? What have we got in the works? Anything coming up this week?
Yeah. We're going to have a game club coming up, which is going to be a playthrough of Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, which we're actually going to do in a few minutes. So that should be pretty fun, because we did have some problems with the Hyperlight Drifter, just some recording problems and time issues and that kind of thing. And then the following Wednesday, I'm going to debut, I guess, our kind of our video game educational type series thing. Still deciding on a name for it. But first episode is going to be what is a game. So that'll be up next. So when this comes out, the following Wednesday. So next Wednesday, that video will be out, and that's going to be a series that runs, I think, every couple of weeks. So keep an eye out for that. It's going to be really cool. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and it's a shame that we sometimes have scheduling and recording conflicts and stuff like that, but that is sadly the reality when you're not doing this as a job. Other things in life take precedence over, well, this project. So sometimes we tend to be a bit flaky with this stuff, but we don't do this because we don't intentionally miss stuff. Don't attribute to malice what can be attributed to bad planning and just flat out incompetence, essentially.
If you fail to plan,
But-
plan to fail.
It's true.
Fail to plan, you plan to
so
fail.
true.
Exactly. And on that bombshell, I think it's time to end. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye bye.